each other try.
And was it, I mean, we all know that the crew that you work with in Game of Thrones are from all over Europe and the world, and they obviously bring a wealth of knowledge and skills. Is it nice to see the other people's artistry and the other cultures influencing what they do? And do you learn a lot from those other people?
It's fantastic. I mean, now, just from working on the show, I have friends from Hungary, Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, and yeah, just seeing what everyone's bringing to the table. A lot of times in one way or another, we've been exposed to different products, so we'll look at each other's stations. Where did you get that? Here, you've never tried it? And we would exchange palettes and things. So my kit and basic setup kind of went through a radical change once I saw what was working, what was tried and tested on this kind of show.
Brilliant.
So it's pretty exciting.
Cool. Can you tell us a bit about what you've been doing with Titanic Creative the past while, how we found you, that kind of journey, and what you've been teaching here, etc.?
Yeah, I've been teaching at Titanic for a little over 2 years now. Feels like longer in all the best ways because it feels like family. But I think Titanic became aware of me through the Heartbox. I started doing Brian Kinney's Heartbox molds a little over 5 years back, and Titanic was carrying them. And my friend Ben Robin was teaching here, and I think it was Nuala or Erica had mentioned, have you seen this Brian Kinney's Heartbox? And Ben knew who Brian was. Obviously, we've known each other going back 14 years now. And I came over, and I think the first workshop I did might have been using the Heartbox molds. So we did some transfers and some basic appliance making from silicone flat molds. And that led to just a good friendship, good partnerships, and now I've been back a couple times a year. We're in the middle of the on-set makeup class. That's sort of the evolution of from script to screen. And I've got the zombie workshop coming up in August. So I first came to Belfast as a tourist 20 years ago this month, and loved it. And I feel very lucky that I've been able to come back not only as an instructor, but as a crew member. There's so much film and TV here, and I absolutely love it.
It's a good opportunity to be
very close to my heart.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to be someone emerging right now in Northern Ireland because of the new studios and what's happening with Game of Thrones.
There's a lot here, and I'm really impressed by the talent I see in this school. I think a lot of the students I've seen here, they have a passion for it. They're here because they really want to be, and I don't always see that, or haven't always seen that in different schools, but I'm very impressed with the talent here, and very very happy Titanic has let me really design my curriculum. I think it's met a need, and always exciting.
We've had another question come in from Kyle Carlis. Do you make your own transfer material, or do you prefer to use a pre-made bought version?
I gotta tell you, I love PTM material. I know we have some floating around behind me, but PTM, developed by Christian Tinsley, I love it any chance I get. Got some dead flesh here. It's a great color, and I've got the transfer paper and acetate sheets here. I have used my own in the past. I've done various mixtures, usually thickened Prosaid with some different tint and plasticizer, but yeah, lately PTM probably for at least the last year. I'm excited by the skin tones that they have, and that's kind of been my go-to.
Cool, good answer. We've had another question come in. As people know, we've teamed up with you to do an assistance program so that we can get one of our artists that's been training with Titanic Creative to assist you at the big trade shows next year. The trade shows are a great exposure for emerging talent. Someone's asked, what are you looking for in an assistant? What is it that you look for when you're looking for artists who are coming out into the industry? Like, what's a good trait as an assistant?
I get a lot of people come up to me and say, can I help you? Can I wash your brushes? And that's all well and good, but I always want to give somebody a little more than that. So I'm not looking for somebody to wash my brushes, but somebody to actually take a brush, and I'll usually steer them in the right direction. I might paint something and say, here, what I've done here, you go ahead and do this technique or take this color or make it your I've had some wonderful assistants when I've done some of the makeups on Game of Thrones, and same thing. I usually like to give them something specific to do. I'm going to concentrate on this color. How do you feel about using this brush and this color? And put some of themselves into it. I'm not really a dictator. I don't want them to be hands-off. I want to feel like we're tag teaming. So I want somebody to have a sense of that they've helped create and design this makeup.
So they need some level of confidence and skill so they can take on that.
Yeah, and I'm fine if they tell me their level is very basic. They're just starting out. That's fine. I might say, help me base out this makeup in this color, or mix a couple colors for me. I can usually gauge their experience level, from a little conversation. So I give them as much as they can handle, and it means the world to me when they tell me, I saw what you did there, and now I do that when I do makeups. So when it inspires them, they learn from it and they pick up a technique. That's the whole point. I want them there right alongside me, seeing how I work, and oftentimes what I do in one makeup I might do completely different 5 minutes later on the next makeup. It's an organic process. You let it happen. So I don't want anyone to feel like there's just one way to do a makeup. I mean, I always say in my classes, think of 5 different ways to do the same makeups, because you might be on location somewhere and you don't have the material or the tool that you're dependent on. How can you improvise and make it work? So I want students to be challenged, and maybe a makeup they've seen done 100 times, they think, oh, I've never seen it done that way. I've never tried that. I'm going to try that and see if I like it better. And hopefully they take it and evolve it and make it better than mine.
Cool. So I take it trade shows are a really cool opportunity for artists like you, because it's when you get to just play and do something that you aren't getting paid to do necessarily, and it's just for your own creativity. Like, that's a nice outlet for you, I guess.
It's a lot of fun, and I don't think it's ever about who's got the best makeup, or at least not for me. It's more, this is what I do, this is what I've done for nearly two decades. This is the level that's expected from the shows that I work on. So that's all I want to showcase. Oftentimes when you're a working artist, you don't always have the time to put into creating a personal project. I wish I had more time. We all do. So a lot of times I'm doing something very basic. My favorite makeups are the ones where you can't tell it's makeup, where maybe it's underwhelming, but such a subtle character trait. If you can tell it's makeup, then I haven't done my job.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about your demos at trade shows, is that you're demonstrating what the Heartbox can do. And a lot of your demos are based on your Heartboxes. So you want to talk a bit about the Heartbox and the rebrands.
Yeah, the whole reason I started doing that, it was just basically putting a version of the molds that I was making and I had in my kit out there, because I knew a lot of people that were sort of doing different sculpt gels and silicons and wax, and sort of fabricating something on the skin that worked fine, but it became an issue when you're considering continuity. Replicating that bullet hole or cut more than once, that could be a little bit tricky. So I wanted this to sort of give people that might not, artists that might not be using prosthetics as much, I wanted it to give them the confidence to make some prosthetics or try doing some basic appliances, especially in a confined space, whether you're in a makeup room or a trailer. I started using the Heartbox molds in a hotel room. So I was in a hotel room or a kitchen counter, someplace where I needed like a mobile effects lab. So most artists I know can make their own molds and should, and can do them better than I can. But I wanted this to be my version, and luckily there were a few people that liked it, wanted theirs, and it's kind of grown from there.
It's a big brand, like, it's cool. And you've rebranded, and you've got some new stuff that came out this year, the zombie stuff. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
I've done a couple different molds. Initially, one of my molds was double-sided, and I did one now that's 2 molds in 1 box. So the whole thing is constantly evolving. I'll change up the colors, change up the packaging. I feel like it gets closer and closer to exactly what I want it to be. And the whole reason I did it was I wanted to create the product that I would want in my kit. And this was something in my kit, and people would ask me, where can I get that? Well, I'll make you one. And then it just grew. So.
Yeah, can you tell us a bit about you've done customized ones for certain shows, like the Sons of Anarchy one that we're big fans of here.
I have friends that were doing Sons of Anarchy, and they invited me on and had a great time working with them. And they told me they were big fans of the Heartbox, so I came in and did a bit of a tutorial with them, talked about different ways to make molds, especially transfers, and ended up making a custom one for the show. And the idea was the box looked like metal on the front, leather on the back, and then sort of a motor oil color inside. And that was some of the basic wounds and things that might be expected at that show, like cigarette burns and prison shank scars and, some more unusual things, but they fit the tone of the show. So the support from the get-go was amazing. And
Very cool.
I do bespoke ones, so I've had people contact me, especially schools that are looking for their own, and I've done different ones over the years. So it's just been a fun side project.
Cool. And you'll be getting to use, you'll be teaching with the Heartboxes for your zombie course with us. Is that's going to be based on your zombie Heartbox and how you make transfers from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just doing some basic zombie appliances. Like I said earlier, a lot of the zombies that I might do might just be paint and powder, so we'll learn that. But my favorite zombies are the ones using transfers or small silicon appliances. So I'll be using my molds to do that.
Fab. We've got another question here from Nicholas Anderson. She is asking, what courses are best to study to break into the industry, and what level of experience is needed?
There's any number of courses. Some people just start with weekend workshops. Some people do short courses, might be a week here or there. Just start somewhere. There's no, obviously, my school is still around and does a very comprehensive program, but I think more and more with work schedules and things, people are doing a lot of short courses. So start somewhere and then just start getting work experience. I did a lot through the London Film School. I did a lot of student films when I was starting out. And, I think I worked for virtually free for probably at least 6 months to a year. And I built up my experience. I made some contacts and don't regret it for a second. You'll know when you're ready to move on to paid gigs and when you're ready to know what your rate is, what you're worth. A lot of times if you do work on productions, they should at least be able to cover your material budget. You don't want to be paying out of pocket for the kind of things. This can be an expensive hobby. So as long as your bottom line is covered, you might break even, but don't be, unless it's for a family member or something, I would say don't be donating your own kit for the sake of art, if that's what you're doing. Kind of a long answer to this question, rambling a bit, but if you're putting your own money into a project, make it your project. Make it what you want to do for a demo makeup. Don't pour money into a student film just because they don't have a makeup budget. If they don't have a makeup budget, they probably shouldn't be making a film.
Cool. So there's no definitive way, and it's about being passionate and having the skills and talent.
Being passionate, but just continue moving forward. Even take your bad experiences and learn lessons from them. And sometimes your bad experiences make for the funniest stories later. So just all in context. Just keep moving forward and just keep growing from the good and the bad experiences. Just keep loving it. And
be prepared for anything. A lot of the people we've talked to have said that when you start out, you are going to get asked to mop the floor, or you might get asked to do something out of your comfort zone. It's just being willing to try everything.
There's no place for egos. Even the shows that I started on, even the top guys, I'd see them ordering the cabs and mopping the floor, and that just really impressed me. And just maintain a level of humility at all times. There's no need for the egos, and be a team player. They want you around if you can work well with others, if you're agreeable and you're adaptable. So I love a challenge. I love being thrown a curveball. Thinking on your feet, that's half the fun. There's no need to panic. Just have the drive, have the passion, and just do it.
Fab. Okay, so another quirky question. What's the one show that you haven't worked on that you really wish you had? Like, you might have been not alive at the time, or is there some epic cult thing that you wish you could have been part of?
I still have profound respect for Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's the greatest music video of all time. And I'm so fortunate to have met and worked with some of the artists that contributed to that. So, Rick Baker's direction and all the different, every zombie there was so iconic to me as a kid. I just remember dating myself here, but 6, 7 years old, watching that on TV, and I just couldn't believe I wasn't seeing dancing dead things. There were people in there, but I couldn't believe it. It just blew my mind. So it still holds up. I wish I'd been just maybe a hair older and could have at least helped out on
Did that start all of this? Is that what the key point was where you were like, I need to do this in my life?
I think everybody knows. And if you talk to any of my contemporaries, they'll tell you American Werewolf in London, John Carpenter's The Thing, and Thriller, sort of the key. There's more in there for sure, but those for me were the three that just spun my head.